Hello, I'm John DiFiore from USF Health IS. I'm the Risk Packs Manager for the Imaging Department. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the Scribe 360 radiology voice recognition system that went live on June 2nd, 2015. I'll give you a brief description of how the system was built and why, as well as a demonstration of the various tools and functionality of the system. We're quite proud of how this product turned out. Physician satisfaction is extremely high. I'm very happy to be able to share this with you in this format today. So you might be asking yourself, why does radiology need a new dictation system? Well, our current dictation system is no longer supported by the vendor as of the end of last year with our current workflow. Radiologists use a PACS-driven workflow, meaning that they launch an exam in PACS, and that launches the dictation system in context to that patient with the appropriate template. GE's dictation system is moving toward a risk-driven workflow where the radiologists work in the risks, work in the dictation system, and use that to drive PACS. That is not an optimal workflow for radiologists. It's a lot more clicks, it's a lot more work for the physician, and when pressed, GE themselves even admit that it's not a desirable workflow for physicians. Additionally, our current mammography workflow is poor. It's labor intensive for the physicians. It requires a lot of point and click to create reports. Our existing system has a few bugs that need to be fixed, and with the lack of vendor commitment going forward with the workflow we use, clearly we need to find a new solution moving forward. We invited two vendors to come in and present their solutions to us. We looked at Scribe and Dolby. The things we were looking for from the vendor was the quality of the voice recognition, the ease of use for the radiologists, the mammography workflow, ability to provide more structure to the reports, resident workflow, hardware requirements from both a desktop perspective as well as back-end servers. Of course, bells and whistles, what sets you apart from the other vendors, and cost. In the end, both vendors had excellent products, and I believe we could have been successful regardless of which product we chose. Scribe 360 fit more in with the long-term structure of the organization and partnership with TGH, and we were able to negotiate the best price with them. So in the end, Scribe did win out on this contract. So with that, I want to give you a brief demonstration of the Scribe application itself. This is the auto text builder screen. This is where we build all of the templates that will be used by the radiologists. We've built over close to 1,000 templates for them to start working with at Go Live. Down here you can see every exam has a template associated with it. There's, like I said, there's about 1,000 that we built. I'm going to start with looking at this CT abdomen with contrast. This one gives you a really good example of all the different features and functionality that goes into these new templates. The basic structure of our template is we start with the examination. We have a history, we have a technique, we have contrast, we have dose, we have comparisons, findings, and impression. And that's the base structure for pretty much every single report in the system has this format to it. The examination, this description gets pulled in automatically from the RIS. The reason for exam, this gets pulled in from the RIS. So these are two fields the radiologist does not have to dictate. The technique, we have pre-built. CT abdomen exams are normally performed a certain way, but in this case we've created a pick list. Pick lists are really strong features for physicians to be able to say one word and pull in a whole string of text associated with that one word. So in this case we've said normal technique is our default, and we've created liver delay as a secondary technique that could be used for this exam. So to look at that, here we can see that our normal technique is our default and the liver delay is our secondary. So by simply saying liver delay, when the radiologist is in this field, they can pull in all of this text that's associated with that single statement of liver delay, rather than having to dictate this entire statement. So this is a huge time-saving piece of workflow by building a pick list rather than having to have the radiologist completely dictate a new technique if this exam is specifically for liver delay. Contrast comes in automatically from the RIS, so the radiologist doesn't have to dictate that. Dose is a CT specific item. This is something new we've just added to our reports with this system. Currently, dose cannot be pulled in from the RIS, but after our next RIS upgrade, we will be able to automatically populate the dose onto the report. Comparisons, the default is none, so if there are no comparisons, there's nothing to dictate. If there is a comparison, then the radiologist can simply tab to this field, or there's various voice commands and ways to navigate to this field and dictate the comparison. Our findings section is broken out into anatomy. So the radiologist can simply tab to each field, or through using voice commands jump to the field they want to. Each one of these fields, the default text says within normal limits. If within normal limits was correct, they wouldn't have to dictate anything. Potentially on this report, if there were no comparisons and they just wanted to maybe dictate something about the spleen and the kidneys, they could just simply dictate the dose, jump down, dictate something about the spleen, dictate something about the kidneys, dictate an impression, and be done with this report. It provides all of that structure that our referring physicians are looking for to be able to quickly look at this report, find the information that they're looking for without having to dig through big long sentence structures to find a simple statement about the kidneys. This template here gives you a great overview of how we have created most of the templates within the system. And at the bottom, we've added a dose reduction statement regarding CT dose. And again, this is new for our Scribe reports. We didn't have this on our old reports. So I'm searching for a patient in the system by typing in the patient's last name. A radiologist would never do that. They would be in PACS, open an exam, and the system would auto launch into Scribe and bring up the template associated with that patient and that exam that they were wanting to dictate. I'm not linked to PACS, so I'm going to have to search for a patient that we want to use. Here you can see here's the radiologist's queue. Here's the exams that need to be signed, things they've already signed today, and here are the drafts. Drafts are either exams that they have saved as a draft to go back and work on later, or more typically these are going to be all the things that the resident that they're working with today has dictated that they need to go and review. So by looking here, they can quickly see how much review work they need to do with the resident. Below the report queue, they can browse for exams in the system by all of these different criteria. They can look by modality, they can look by requesting physician, by radiologist, by specific anatomy, pretty much anything they want. This is great for residents and fellows to look for exams for presentation for neuro conference and ortho conference. They can quickly come in here, find a study that they've done recently, view the report that's associated with it, and know if this is a study that they want to save to present at conference. This is what the dictation screen looks like. You can see on this particular exam, we have the exam description came over from the RIS. This is the history, came over from the RIS. Here is our default technique. This is the CT abdomen that I showed you the template on earlier. Here's our normal template. If I'm highlighted in the field, here's our pick list. If I want to change that to a liver delay, I have voice recognition is turned off right now. Otherwise, everything I'm saying would be dictated into this report, but I can simply click on liver delay and have it pull in the associated text with this pick list, or I could just say liver delay and have it pull that in. Contrast information came over automatically from the RIS. Here's our dose. I'm going to go ahead and put something in there, and comparison defaulted to none. All of our anatomy defaulted to within normal limits. or our normal statements associated with them. I can either tab to them, click in these fields. I can say the name of the field to jump to it and quickly dictate in there, and then dictate an impression in the bottom. I'm going to show you this same template later with some color added to it to help with resident workflow. Here's that same report with some color added to it. You can see the fields that merged in that came from the RIS are in red. The text that came from the template is in blue. And the things that I dictated into this report, the dose, the comparison, and a few findings within the anatomy, are in yellow. So by adding some color to only show things that I dictated into the report, I also highlighted things that were typed into the report to be white, but I didn't type anything into the report. By changing the color of the text that was actually dictated into the report to yellow, when the radiologist is working with the resident, he can focus his eyes on what the resident actually dictated into the report, as opposed to the things that the report populated itself. This helps the radiologist save time when reviewing a report with the resident. That's not to say that the liver is normal. It may be that the liver does need to have some dictation, but it does save time when the radiologist can focus on what the resident had to say about this particular patient. The other enhanced product that we purchased with this system is Mobile Radiologist. With the Scribe 360 mobile app, the radiologist can sign reports from various cues, as well as use assisted diagnosis to help with report decisions. This is great because radiologists typically read out with residents at the end of the day. So when they go home, they can quickly jump into their signature queue with this app and sign off on all their reports. Now, we've never really had a problem with our turnaround times. They've always been excellent, but you can always do better. And this gives the radiologist the opportunity to sign off on those reports in the evening without having to wait until the next day. Additionally, the radiologist can dictate addendums. They can even dictate full reports if they choose to. They can search for patients, view prior reports. That's a handy feature if they happen to be with an attending physician somewhere and need to review something that they read earlier in the day or the day before. So in conclusion, you can see that the radiologist can be more efficient with the use of structured templates. Pick lists are really helpful because they can drive large amounts of text with a single word or phrase. The structured templates are more easily read by our referring physicians. Resident workflow is enhanced with the addition of structured text and color. Turnaround times, while not an issue, have been improved with Mobile Radiologist. Mammography workflow, which I didn't demonstrate today, has been much improved. It's simpler and more efficient for the physicians. The voice recognition quality is excellent, and we've been able to fully eliminate our transcription staff at this point. Thank you for taking the opportunity to watch the video. I hope you found it both educational and informative about how dictation is performed in the radiology department. Thank you.